even forced the hand of, you mentioned Robert Aldrich, the director, to fire a younger actress after she makes Joan feel old. Was Baby Jane a particularly hostile set like we see in the series? Was it because Betty and Joan were working together? That seems to be what the series is implying. Or did the real Joan Crawford have a history of being difficult to work with, even without Bette Davis there?
No. Well, the dynamic, Crawford wanted a happy set, always. And that's why she had this routine of on the first day of the picture, she would greet everybody on the crew personally, welcome them to the picture, tell them she looked forward to working with them. During the shoot, she would give people presents, certainly the director, and occasionally the cameraman, she would also give presents to. She wanted a happy set. Now, there might have been an element of calculation in some of this, certainly. But she wanted everybody on her side, and she was willing to do what, to act like a generous spirited grande dame in order to get the vibe going, the vibe she wanted going. She didn't like a hostile set. She didn't function well in hostility. She had enough of that in her early life. She had a wretched, wretched childhood. And she didn't go out of her way looking for contention, looking for aggravation. Bette Davis was stimulated by aggravation. Bette Davis was stimulated by confrontation. She enjoyed it. She had a gladiatorial frame of mind. I was friends with Lindsay Anderson, who directed her in Whales of August, which was she did with Lillian Gish, was Lillian Gish's last picture. And I talked to Lindsay about the experience of working with her. And Lillian Gish at this point was 92 or 93 years old. Literally. She was over 90. And she showed up every day with her lines. And except for one day when she came on the set at 8 a.m. and she didn't know where she was. And Lindsay thought the film was about to collapse because there's no way to cut around it. This is the gamble you take with a very elderly performer, And if suddenly they can't remember their dialogue, well, you can cover that with cue cards, but with an actress who doesn't know where she is. But yeah, it was panic time. But about 75, 90 minutes later, she was fine. She realized she was making the movie. And she remembered her dialogue. It was the only time she had a memory slip on the picture. But Davis was very volatile and very angry and very hostile to Gish for no reason. Because as Lindsay would said, Lillian was a sweet old lady. She never had a bad word to say about anybody. But that just made Davis all the more angry, really. Because she wanted someone to push back against, and Gish wasn't going to fight. She needed every ounce of her energy to get through the day when you're 93 and you're making a movie. And Lindsay said, I began to think that Betty was insane, literally crazy. Now, this is down the road from Baby Jane. This is in the late 80s, 1986, 1987. But it was a harrowing experience for Lindsay because he didn't expect this because he worshiped Bette Davis. He liked silent movies, but he grew up watching Bette Davis in the 30s and 40s in England. And he'd always loved her. And here she was, a bitch on wheels. And he wasn't prepared for that. Well, if he talked to some people from Hollywood, he would have been more prepared for it because she could make you, it was gladiatorial. It could be gladiatorial with Bette Davis. So, as Aldrich said, it's fair to say they detested each other, but there was never a harsh word spoken because A, there wasn't time, and B, and if you look at the picture, Crawford doesn't have that much to do. She's up in the room on the second floor. It's basically Baby Jane's movie. It's Bette Davis's movie. She's got most of the screen time. She's got most of the movement of the character. Crawford never leaves the house until the last scene of the picture. Baby Jane is she's doing banking. She's messing around with Victor Buono, who hates his mother. She's actually interacting with other people. Crawford character doesn't interact with anybody except her sister, Baby Jane. So Crawford is basically working in one room for the production, whereas Baby Jane is out and about and she's shopping. We see her going in the car, this old car they have, and she's much more. Everything happens because of Baby Jane. In that sense, she's not only the title character, she's the fulcrum of the movie. She's the movement of the movie. Everything happens because of Jane Hudson.